am Noriko Bullful, and this is Uncut News. Topping tonight's broadcast is news of a horrific fatal accident near Vryslust on the East Coast. Around 5:30 this morning, 45-year-old sanitation worker Xavier Isfahani was killed instantly when an auto collision caused him to be crushed between two trucks. Surveillance footage shows Isfahani working behind the stationary garbage truck before the speeding white Canter slammed into the back of the truck. The impact reportedly severed his legs off. The driver, a 52-year-old resident of 1 Mile Hill Foot, and a passenger, a 46-year-old Wendell Court of Soestdijk, were both pinned inside the Canter. The Guyana Fire Service had to be summoned to free the men from the vehicle. The driver received multiple injuries while Court suffered a broken leg. They were taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital, but hours later, the JPF reported that the driver had a heart attack, but they did not specify if he suffered it before or after the accident. From skinning his Bamsi in the High Court to sitting in Parliament, leader of the LJP, Lennox Schumann, will most likely be the first parliamentarian to represent the three-party alliance of the LJP, ANOG, and the TNM, a grouping I will refer to as the Baby Coalition from now on. The LJP will be the first to take up the parliamentary seat won by the joint list, although the LJP will meet tonight to finalize their decision. But according to their agreement, their parliamentarian must remain independent of the government and the opposition. Additionally, the Baby Coalition will meet regularly regarding major decisions and tabling new bills to the National Assembly. With 89 active cases, Region 9 is currently the hardest hit region in the country, and it would seem like the Ministry of Public Health is addressing the situation by just not giving a shite. According to a report from the newsroom, the region is suffering from a severe lack of food, equipment, sanitation supplies, and health workers. Currently, one of the lead doctors in Lethem is sick, and as a consequence of the poorly designed isolation ward, a majority of the medical staff in Lethem are actually in isolation themselves, awaiting testing. Worst yet, results for the disease are only available once a week, as the flight to send samples to the lab in Georgetown only leaves on Fridays. But as of Sunday, 38 persons tested positive, with over 90% of the region's overall cases being imported from Brazil. BM Soat is Guyana's #1 auto dealer. Visit their showroom at Lot 9 Crow Street, Georgetown. Don't be shy, that $800,000 you have saved up can get you behind the steering wheel now. Call them on telephone number 231-8451. BM Soat Auto Sales. It's your turn to drive. A fire early this morning severely damaged the building housing Chase Academy on Parade Street, Kingston, Georgetown. The security guard on duty said there was no explosion nor suspicious persons near the building before he saw smoke flowing from the office on the lower flat. The fire, which started around 3 a.m. this morning, gutted the 3-story building, which housed the principal's office, the staff room, and classrooms. One of such offices contained the children's recently finished SBAs. Fortunately for them, the grades have already been sent to the CXC office. Seeing the flames, neighbors summoned the fire service and formed a bucket brigade. While the cause of the fire is still under investigation, the principal and owner of Chase Academy believes he is merely the latest victim of fire season. He ruled out the fire being of electrical origin because no appliance was on and the electrical wiring was inspected just last week. This morning, disgraced former GDF Captain Orwayne Sandy was handed a life sentence for the cold-blooded crime of shooting his wife 14 times in broad daylight. The 38-year-old man had appeared before the court for the capital offense of murder. However, Sandy had opted to plead to the lesser count of manslaughter, which I didn't even know was possible, but nevertheless, he will become eligible for parole after serving 20 years. Police are currently investigating the drive-by shooting death of a 25-year-old Rondell Haynes called Trini. On Monday night, the father of one was killed during a drive-by shooting at the corners of Durban and Chapel Streets in Georgetown. He was struck multiple times and died on the spot. His family believes that they may know who is responsible for this senseless killing, as for the past month, Haynes received several death threats from an East Rumveld resident he had an issue with. Haynes had only recently returned from living in Barbados. Hess Corporation, a partner in ExxonMobil Starbuck Block, has disclosed that the Yellowtail 1 and Yellowtail 2, as well as the Redtail wells, could support another FPSO. Nice. The company also said that the Yellowtail and the Redtail development is showing more promise than its proposed Hammerhead project that is currently under review at the EPA. In this regard, it was noted that Yellowtail and Redtail hold a much higher value of oil than Hammerhead, since Hammerhead is a heavy oil discovery. You already know what I'm going to say. Drill, baby, drill. Get a GPS vehicle tracker installed at Driveby for a one-time fee of $16,000 and enjoy some peace of mind, because as you know, there are sickos out there in the streets waiting to steal your property. Contact Driveby Enterprise on telephone number 682-8326. Don't hesitate, call them now. Let's take a look at news in the region. The British Virgin Islands is projected to spend over $2 million for quarantine facilities. Health Minister Calvin Malone said the government has identified 250 rooms they may rent for 12 properties at a total cost of $2,357,000. The territory's constitution says that the government is obliged to foot the bill for meals to be supplied to people while they're quarantined. The buildings are expected to be used until September 14th. The first major hurricane threat for the Bahamas in 2020 touched nearly every island along the archipelago, but left the country relatively unscathed. Hurricane Isaias, a Category 1 storm with winds reaching up to 85 miles per hour, caused flooding on some islands, including Long Island and Grand Bahama. But throughout the majority of the Bahamas, residents reported minimal damage. And in international news, according to reports coming from Lebanon, a fire at a fireworks factory in Beirut caused a massive set of explosions throughout the capital. Video footage of the occurrence shows a huge red mushroom cloud flattening much of the port, damaging buildings and blowing out windows and doors. Witnesses saw many people injured by flying glass and debris. Miles from the scene of the blast, balconies were knocked down, ceilings collapsed, and windows were shattered. To make you understand just how big this was, people on the island of Cyprus, 125 miles away, reported hearing and feeling the blast. According to the country's health minister, at least 30 people are confirmed dead and over 3,000 injured, but numbers are expected to rise in the coming days. Take advantage of this fresh business opportunity. Become a digital top-up vendor with Cellular Plus and earn some extra cash. No fancy phone or internet required. Just show up with your Mango Pelter and you're good to go. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 and find out about their special offer. And now for our weird news story of the day. Here's a man you might want to take with you to Las Vegas. A Tanzanian small-scale miner who became an overnight millionaire in June for selling 2 rough Tanzanite stones valued at $3.4 million has hit it big yet again. He has just sold another gem for $2 million. The third discovery by Saninu Lazia weighed 14 pounds. The tanzanite is only found in northern Tanzania and is used to make ornaments. It is one of the rarest gemstones on Earth, and one local geologist estimates its supply may be entirely depleted within the next 20 years. However, the father of 30 children, says that he will be spending the money he's gotten from this on a new school and a church for his community. Moving on to our Uncut News viewers poll question of the day. Every day we will pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. You give your responses in the comments, and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Yesterday's question was, what should the new government address in its first 100 days? KS said 1. Set up the Sovereign Wealth Fund. 2. Paint all public buildings back to a neutral color. Putting them in green in the first place was wrong. 3. Scrap the oil contracts and start over. Terence Singh said, after their transitioning, the government needs to urgently address the COVID situation by procuring the necessary health supplies to test people exhibiting symptoms and implementing strict guidelines to reduce transmission. And Pemsy said, I think the government needs to bring clarifications about the oil, where they're going to spend the money for public infrastructure and improving Guyanese lives, and they need to remain strong and stable against Venezuela's claims. I know you all had a lot to say, but we don't have time for everyone tonight. I still want to hear your concerns. Tonight's question again is, what are the top 5 issues the new government should address in its first 100 days? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good, we'll feature it in Wednesday's episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another. Hey Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.